Afternoon and welcome to the Political Business and Science panel discussion, the new Bioeconomy Strategy, European goals and Lithuania's potential to contribute to developing innovative bio-based industry. So today in this discussion, we will review the upcoming EU Bioeconomy Strategy, strengths in the bioeconomy, and Lithuania's potential to grasp the opportunities emerging from bioeconomy development. And we will begin with several will help to set the scene and lay the ground for our discussion. So without further ado, I would like to invite Dr. Michael Losch, representative of the European Commission's Directorate General for Agriculture and Rural Development, DG Agri, who will introduce us to the upcoming European
Good afternoon. I just have to check how to come to the I better not touch these things. So in particular the net zero by 2050, but to achieve now this with not with additional regulation, not with additional a lot of targets, but making this also a success story for the economy and for European competitiveness. And the year started, and this commission started, early this year with the competitiveness compass. And already in the competitiveness compass, you see a quote. There was already a reference to an upcoming bioeconomy market strategy, perspectives for rural areas. There are some basically quotes. Then in February, there came the Clean Industrial Deal. And also the Clean Industrial Deal, you might remember, is a strategic document which also saw, also for the industry, a large potential in the bioeconomy. And third, in February, came the Vision for Agriculture and Food. That's now our Commissioner Christoph Hansen, who is responsible for the portfolio of agriculture and food. This is a kind of new portfolio with food included in the agricultural portfolio. And also in this Vision for Agriculture and Food, we already outlined a link, a perspective towards the bioeconomy, that farming is also trying to benefit from this perspectives to a larger bioeconomy which goes beyond the classic production of food and feed, which is of course also part of the bioeconomy. We see it's important that primary producers are respected in this value chain. For us, that's now a positions, so to say, from the Agriculture Director General, that we try to make our voice, the voice of European primary producer of agriculture, forestry, heard in this strategy, and not leave this strategy completely to the industry, to the demand side, and trying also to have as much value chain in Europe, and of course having within this value chain as much respect and potential for the first part of the value chain, for the farmers and foresters. And as opposed to a situation where industry, let's say chemical industry, is just importing the biomass or the intermediate material from other areas of the world, and then just making the final products and leaving the European primary sector, let's say, aside. That would not be our target, but this is now negotiation. This is now, of course, everybody is in principle in favor, but if you then ask what is the concrete measures, then of course, and if you talk about money and concrete measures, of course, there is always, as in Europe, a kind of a struggle about who has priority. So to give you here the overview, the bioeconomy strategy in the middle is embedded in the larger strategy of this commission, of this 5-year period, starting with the colorful parts which I just said, but there's also an ocean bag, there are other strategies. So it starts from the bottom here. There's a life science strategy, there is a startup and scale-up strategy, and in the middle there is this bioeconomy strategy. And then from that we'll grow, as it's usual for the Commission for European Policy. We start with very general strategic papers and documents, and only on the basis of this, of the conclusions, of the recommendations, of the actions agreed upon in the Commission, then usually in the following year, there are more concrete legislative actions which then have to be adopted by the European Parliament and the Council of Ministers. So then it's just the Commission making the proposal, but at this strategic step, it's the Commission basically making a communication by herself, so to drive forward this debate. So this is where we are. What you see above, Industrial Decarbonization Accelerator Act, Biotech Act, Circular Economy Act, that will follow probably next year, and will be influenced, of course, by the main thrust and conclusions and pillars of this and other strategies like Clean Industrial Deal and Competitiveness Compass. We had a big consultation period on this strategy. I will not bother you too much, but you see here in the middle, here I see it full, yeah. The call for evidence, so-called call for evidence, more than 700 pieces of paper of several pages, documents having been received, So it's quite a challenge, and of course there is also help for the Commission to analyze the papers and to get out some conclusions. So public consultation, that's more or less questions to tick, but the middle, the call for evidence, is really a search for also academic papers, and you have seen here the 444 and 300 position papers, so really a lot of participation in this process. Here we selected some main messages. Of course, increasing circularity across the bioeconomy value chain is like a top priority, but then also fostering environmental sustainability, contribution to climate mitigation, global competition. So there's a lot of messages which were coming across in this consultation. You will have the slides afterwards, so I don't go here into details. The main challenges. Excuse me. The main challenges which were discussed also in workshops, it's not only a consultation, but we made several workshops. We are basically doing this strategy under the lead of DG Environment, with DG Research, with DG Grow, with DG Agri. We had held several workshops with a lot of stakeholders. A bit like also here today, but now we are in a later phase, so it's not such an open phase anymore. So I cannot consider this as a workshop for the strategy, but it's rather at this critical moment, as I explained. So the challenges which were identified in these discussions were basically in the 4 pillars. First pillar here is the innovation investment pillar, that we really want to boost this strategy, let's say having it less a strategy, a research academic strategy, saying, oh, how do we exactly define the bioeconomy, and we have then to have a chapter on every pillar of the bioeconomy. So this was, let's say, so far the strategies. We're building on old strategies, on good strategies, but now it's really about how to get this bioeconomy into the real economy. And one of the main messages is, of course, that there are obstacles, and that there are targets, level playing field issues, sustainability issues. These are really the parts. The investment issue is really how can we scale up, not only startup, not only research, but transform that into the industry? Are there market barriers? Is there unfair competition with fossil-based alternatives? Second pillar is then moving more concretely on the question, what can we do? There needs to be this level playing field. Can we create demand? Can we create markets? We want to maintain Europe in a strong single market, in a strong market-based economy. So it's not like that. It's not like planification that we say, okay, the state or Europe now orders this or that. So it's how can we encourage and stay within market limits by enhancing. Let's say there are some ideas, I will come to them later, but of course there's public procurement, but of course there's some regulation embedded in these ideas, saying there needs to be a certain share of in recycled plastics, and but this is of course heavily debated because, as I said in the outset, this Commission is not here now to add on new regulations. So this is a very complex obstacles challenge, as it says, how to create markets without interfering too much with the market. Third pillar, a third challenge here is the question of sustainability. Do we have enough sustainably produced biomass? Big question, competition, sustainability issues, but also here, we in DG Agri think that European farmers and also forest holders also already face a lot of criteria. They're farmer, in Brussels there were last year, there were manifestations that maybe the criteria, the requirements are already going very far. So we made simplification efforts in the CAP. We have now the new CAP proposals just in this summer, which is again moving the CAP more, making it more flexible, I would say, more synergetic, less detailed, prescriptive. So it's also not the place to add on new criteria to make life for primary producers even more difficult. You cannot foster European role of primary producers in this value chain by adding on additional burden. So also that's a challenge. How then to do that? But still, the objective, of course, of having a sustainable supply of biomass and not imported, unsustainable. Well, also imported can be sustainable, but so there are a lot of issues. And then, of course, this question leads to this global aspect. We are not alone. We have open borders. There's trade. There's different issues. You see also highly politically debated the CBAM, Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism. There's the EUDR, EU Deforestation Regulation, all addressing import challenges, big political debates going on. How we don't really want to open another problematic area, but still a challenge. So you see, these are challenges, not chapters of the strategy, maybe also. And I start with a first, giving you now a bit more the data of the discussion. I think one of a bit of a subjective, but I think that's a common view is that the bioeconomy has now at this stage, after we had a lot of, let's say, renewable energy already, so the energy sector has already been. There's a strong policy movement, Renewable Energy Directive number 3 and Clean Energy Package some years ago, Repower EU package. So there is a lot of thought, strategy, targets on the energetic side to decarbonize the energy part mostly, including with bioenergy, biogas, there are targets. But there's not so much nearly no strategy to defossilize, and I say defossilize and not decarbonize because there is an acceptance that the products, the materials in our world, they will also in future probably have some carbon atoms in them, the materials. But so it's a question to replace basically the fossil atoms with biogenic circular atoms which do not weigh on our future. Anyway. And just here a reminder what the worldwide picture looks at. On the left-hand side, the energy. You have coal, you have oil, you have gas, which are still going up worldwide. Europe is representing less than 7% of global CO2 emissions currently. And to the right-hand side, you see the materials. Let's say I put 4 of the, let's say, CO2 intensive, most intensive materials. There is steel, which is very intensive in its production because it's coal used mostly. One can decarbonize here, or one can replace, substitute maybe steel with some materials in construction. There is second green ammonia, which is a key material for chemical industry and key material for fertilizers and so on, what you have. And also this ammonia is so far very heavily produced with fossil inputs, with natural gas and in former times pipeline gas, but also LNG. This is not the long-term solution. So also here a big question, how can we substitute either the way ammonia is made or substitute it with something else. Thirdly, we have here the cement, also cement industry. By burning cement, naturally CO2 evaporates. This is not going away when you make cement. So also here maybe a solution more looking into construction, building more with other materials. And fourthly, we have here the plastic world. Of course, classic plastics are made also out of oil. And can we make plastics and other chemicals out, maybe not of fossil oil, but of other materials? So this challenge on the material side, right, that's, in our view, one of the most important challenges. And what do we have here now on the on the biomass side? We have here, I put this together from our joint research center in Ispra in Italy. You see on the basis in green, you have the supply of the bioeconomy. You see that 55% is crops and grazing, so grass and crops, let's say. 27% is wood of the biomass. Then there is about 11, 17 is kind of secondary. It's recovered already residues, secondary materials. We also see fishery in the balance. You see the small fish here, 0.5. It's not a lot, but still part of the biomass. And we have in the use side in the balance, so the orange part on top, we see a lot goes into animal feed, about 30%, food about 10%, so about 50% goes into food and feed, a little bit less. We have about 22% energy from woody biomass, and then we have agricultural biomass, and so altogether about 29% goes into energetic uses, and then we have the materials, which are 4%, let's say the more modern material. Wood and paper is already wood, of course, 22%. So logically, the wood, the 27 go a lot into wood and paper, so it's not unlogic. The trend, what we see on the right-hand side, is that there has been quite an increase of the energetic use part. This is a bit, let's say, a bit worrying, maybe not always the most efficient use to only make energy out of it. So this links to the strategy. We have a challenge to maybe make more out of it than just heat and power. But without saying that this is bad. So it's we need everything, but we have to increase here innovative technologies and potential, and making also more out of waste. A last blink on some energetic part, because I think biogas and biomethane is a big issue for the farming world. It's a in-between thing between energy and materials. We have already the targets of the Repower EU that we want to replace fossil gas by 2030 with about 35 billion cubic meter biomethane. So we are on a good track here. The biogas, the light green, is the more farm-based local one, and then you can process it, clean it, standardize it to the biomethane, which is the dark green. So a lot to do, and a big chance for circularity when we take into account that this biogas on farm uses residues, and the so-called digestate can then be produced, be at the basis of a processing for fertilizer, for bio-based fertilizer. It's not the raw manure, but it's something a bit more sophisticated, I would say, that would have the potential to replace much of the ammonia and fossil-based imported fertilizer, and would create such a circle. I have to speed up a bit. Let's see a bit more for forestry and for agriculture as a whole at the picture of the carbon sink, because we have this challenge to substitute the fossil materials, fossil energy, fossil materials. So having a climate positive effect, but in particular with the forests, we have to pay attention that the land use, the supply is so sustainable that we don't have a positive effect on one side by replacing something, and on the other hand we have a negative effect on the sink side of the forest. So of course it's important to look at these figures. This is the last figure. There's a great latest figures of 2023, also in the JRC report. And you see in the last years, in the last 5-6 years, the sink, that's the big debate now also in the climate policy versus, let's say, industry policy. What is the state of play in the forest? Do we have a big problem with the sink? It seems to stabilize a bit, but what is clear is that the so-called LULUCF, land use change, forest targets as a sink to balance emissions in the industrial, in the transport sector. There have been targets, expectations to have here these lower green lines to get longer and longer to until 2030. And this seems to be, so we are not really on track. So there is pressure from the climate policy saying, how can you get the forest becoming again a stronger sink, a yearly sink here? And the bioeconomy side saying we need active forest management, we need to harvest more to replace other products. Big issue. And I think that could be really a big issue also for the debate. We don't have the silver bullet, but we are striving for win-win situations, that an intelligent, sustainable harvesting, keeping the right species, keeping the right mix in our forests, so to maximize both harvested products, which form also a sink, the dark green sink, and on the same time also maximizing and increasing the overall sink. And just to have, because this is the overall European picture, if you see a bit on the felling rate, so how much of the yearly increment in our forests is removed. Where is Lithuania? Here, you're very good. I would say there's potential. According to these figures, also latest figures from Eurostat of 2022, there will be new figures probably end of this year, or you have them already, but we don't have them at the let's say combined, synthesized form for all European countries. But we have Lithuania. You are at a felling rate of 55% something, which means you're way below the net increment of forestry biomass every year. So there could be a potential of even getting out more wood of Lithuanian forests without damaging the wood. I think that's the challenge in a way. And we see, on the other hand, we see Czech Republic, that's because of the bark beetle, of course, that there has been already over, that's the only country above 100%, so they were felling, getting more harvesting out of the forest than the forest grew in that year. So that's of course problematic, and there should be also a safety margin. But if we see also latest figures, I'm moving close to the ends, this I can really recommend this EU biomass report. You see the first picture on the right-hand side. It's publicly available. JRC biomass report, brand new, just in summer published. We see here to the left side. So on average, the fellings rates for broadleaves are around 60%. So there is a lot of space or potential on broadleaves. On the conifer side, 80 to 90%, it's already much tighter. So also the question we had just 2 days ago, we had a meeting with sawmill industries, and there is a big issue here. Is it possible to use more broadleaf-based wood? The sawmills are not adapted to them, so quite some questions, which cannot be solved now with a few sentences in a strategy, of course. It's just we can draw the attention to it. Just a very small figure here, the agricultural biomass is about half, 46%. So if you have grains, we only use half of it as the grains, and the straw, the rest of the material is the other half. So there is also potential here. Often it is already used, but maybe not in the most efficient way, or so there is potential for using residues. So here you see the pillars. As I said, I will not elaborate enough. I have said that all. This is kind of a summary: lab to fab, scaling up; pillar 2, developing lead markets; pillar 3, securing a sustainable supply; and pillar 4, positioning us internationally. So this is the overall thrust. We don't know whether the chapters will look like this, will be scrambled around. That's currently going on. And definitely we try to present some examples, some lead markets. It's clear that on the supply side, on the definition side, all the agriculture and food is part of the bioeconomy. Also forestry, chemical, secondary biomass, aquaculture biomass, blue biomass. But then the question is, where can we focus action? Where can we really a bit interfere with some policy tools? And there we very much look at packaging, a bit of automotive, textiles, construction, chemicals, bioplastics, and biofertilizers as really some key examples where we can increase the circularity and the substitution effect towards the fossil industry. And one example lately, closing my last slide here at the faculty here in Kaunas, here in the Agriculture Academy. We have this EU Cup network. We made a workshop. I see our colleague from which will follow me. We were in Finland and we developed already. We had a first workshop to knowledge exchange to think about how can we boost the bioeconomy, how can we learn from each other in Europe. I think it was a very interesting chapter on forest residues, and we have now programmed for the next year. Basically, you see, I just made one in yellow, but there are 3 focus groups starting now on the revitalizing the wool value chain, which is so for textiles, how can we maybe use here sheep wool more instead of polyester. Then secondly, we have forestry health, pests and diseases, always a big subject for sustainable wood supply. And thirdly, we have innovative on-farm energy production systems. Also here, a kind of a debate which will be ongoing, search for innovations and knowledge exchange. That's something what we can do as DG Agri, what we programmed already, and what will happen in the next months. We will see. You will see. Follow the debate. Somewhere in November, it is expected that the Commission will adopt the new strategy, and then we can really discuss it on the basis of a written text. Sorry that I cannot deliver you a written text of the strategy, but I hope to have given you some food for discussion, for some food for thought, and some basic figures and places like the JRC forest biomass report to look at and to dig a bit deeper. Thank you very much.
Yes, so thank you very much for valuable presentation, and I think that it's more clear about what kind of document is being developed and what can we expect from this new strategy. And next, the second presentation, we would like to briefly introduce what we are doing in Lithuania, the process of national bioeconomy strategy development. For the international audience, I would like to take a note that these discussions and facilitating the strategy is being organized in cooperation with other bio-east countries. These are Central and Eastern European countries, including the Baltics, Visegrad countries. So the things that we are doing resembling the processes in other countries as well. So you will see the process and also some first insights for the selected value chain of agriculture. Colleague Dr. Rasa Pakeltienė is the Lithuanian Bioeconomy Hub Coordinator, as well as Associate Professor at the Faculty of Bioeconomy Development of Vytautas Magnus University, and we are happy to have you here, and we are listening to your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Virginia. Good afternoon, esteemed colleagues, policymakers, business leaders, scientists, and guests. It's a privilege to join this panel on the new bioeconomy strategy, and especially to speak after Michal. My aim today is a bit different. Michal introduced the European challenges, potential, and perspectives, and my aim is to introduce the Lithuanian Bioeconomy Hub, to explain its purpose, structure, and processes, and to show how it serves as a national platform for dialogue and cooperation that will guide the development of Lithuanian bioeconomy strategy. The Lithuanian Bioeconomy Hub was established based on the Horizon Europe project Boost for Bio-East, and is considered as the central platform for dialogue, bringing together government, ministries, science, business representatives, and society, and connecting them with international partners across 11 Bio-East countries and the whole European Union. Its mission is simple but powerful: to strengthen the sustainability, innovativeness, and competitiveness of Lithuanian bioeconomy. And to achieve this, the Hub advocates political harmony between agriculture, forestry, environment, and innovation, and then strengthen the links between science and policy to support evidence-based decisions. In addition, Lithuanian Bioeconomy Hub has its objective to promote public-private partnerships, develop a holistic national bioeconomy vision with a clear action plan, and represent Lithuania bioeconomy internationally. So in short, the Hub gives us both the tools and the network to transform our bioeconomy into a driver for sustainable growth. In the next slide, you can see the structure on how the Lithuanian hub is organized. And at the top, we have an interministerial group created at the governmental level, ensuring strong political backing. It operates on the basis of the Agricultural Science Council and is linked to the Ministry of Agriculture, which also represents Lithuania in the BioEast initiative and acts as a national BioEast contact point. At the core, the hub is coordinated by Vytautas Magnus University Agriculture Academy, working closely with partners across research and innovation. And based on the country needs, we have also established 3 thematic working groups that drives the real work. So Lithuanian Food Exporters Association on Smart Food Cluster leads the thematic working group on agriculture and food. The Center of Excellence to Transform the Forest Environment Monitoring, Forest for Zero, leads the thematic working group on forestry and wood value chain, and the Lithuanian Biotechnology Association leads the thematic working group on advanced bio-based materials and products. And finally, we have a wide circle of hub members, business researchers and stakeholders who brings knowledge, creativity and commitments. This structure is very unique because it ensures that our strategy which we are building is not top-down, but co-created, built with the voices of practitioners, farmers, foresters, entrepreneurs, NGOs, and researchers, making the hub not just a network, but a national platform for action. And we clearly understand that developing this national bioeconomy strategy, it's not just a single decision, it is a journey. And I'm happy to highlight that last September, the Lithuanian Parliament and government committed to prepare an appropriate horizontal interinstitutional bioeconomy strategy. And this is a historical milestone. The vision is clear: to transform agriculture and forestry from primary production sectors into engines of high added value, contributing to GDP growth. And bearing this in mind, we are building the strategy step by step through consultations, hub meetings, and dialogue with national and European partners. And here in the timeline, you can see that we have held, and our stakeholders have held several key meetings. So the hub were launched last September. And then in November, we had the first interministerial group meeting, and this group comprised from representatives of 5 Lithuanian ministries and operates under the Agricultural Science Council. In June, we had the first strategic session organized by Lithuanian Bioeconomy Hub, involving key stakeholders of the major value chains. And if I'm not mistaken, we had more like 80 stakeholders involved in this first strategic session to discuss Lithuanian potential, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And we are going to follow up on these discussions, and at the beginning of November, we will organize the second strategic session, which aims to prioritize the strategic directions of Lithuanian bioeconomy. In addition, we have a high-level working group held by the government of the Republic of Lithuania. And all these processes, they are the same as important as the outcomes of all these discussions, because it creates ownership and ensures that all stakeholders moves forward together. As I mentioned, we are still in the process to summarize the outcomes of the first strategic session. But I will share some preliminary insights, and let us take an example of agriculture. The hub conducted the SWOT analysis of the agricultural value chain, and we clearly identified some strengths like high quality products and growing export potential, but of course there are lots of weaknesses like fragmentation, low cooperation, and insufficient processing capacity. And of course there are some opportunities: digitalization, green technologies, and the development of short supply chains, and of course some threats like climate change, market volatility, and demographic challenges such as attracting young farmers. And this analysis is important for us. We are still working on that, but this is the foundation for our strategic decisions. And it shows us where to focus our efforts and unlock agriculture's full potential. Based on these all insights, we are shaping the clear strategic directions. First, we must build on our strengths by moving from raw export to high-value innovative products that can compete internationally and expand Lithuanian exports markets. Second, we must reduce weaknesses, encouraging greater cooperation among farmers, expanding processing capacity, and attracting young farmers who will bring the new skills and energy into this sector. Third, we will seize opportunities by adopting digital and green technologies that improve efficiency and sustainability, and by creating short food chains that connect producers directly to consumers, increasing both the trust and value. And finally, we must manage threats from climate change to market volatility by focusing on niche resilient products, improving financial self-sufficiency, and making agriculture an attractive and future-proof career for the next generations. The ultimate goal is transformation from a raw material exporter to a sustainable, innovative, and high value-added agricultural sector. And as I close, I would like to highlight that bioeconomy it's not just about the sectors, it is also about people, cooperation, and the common vision. And Lithuania is determined to align with European goals while tailoring its strategy to national strengths and challenges. And the Lithuanian Bioeconomy Hub gives us a platform for dialogue and action. And with political commitment, scientific evidence, and entrepreneurial spirit, we can turn this vision into reality. And I invite you all, policy, business, and science, to work together, join Lithuanian Bioeconomy Hub, so that Lithuania bioeconomy becomes a driver of growth, sustainability, and innovation in Europe. Thank you.
Yes, so thank you very much for introduction to the activities that we are hosting here. Actually, this session was in this hall, that insights you provided, and I would like to invite you to join the panel already, because I will invite other panelists as well, and we will transition from the presentation to the discussion mode. So I would like also to invite back Michael Losch, the first presenter. And I would like to introduce and invite other panelists which represent governmental, business sectors. So I would like to introduce Dalia Minetaitė. She is a senior advisor of the Ministry of Agriculture of the Republic of Lithuania. So Dalia, please join us. Then we have pleasure to have Rugilė Skvarnavičiūtė, which is product strategist at the Lithuanian Investment Promotion Agency Invest Lithuania. So Rugilė, please join us. From the business sector and industry, we are happy to have Dainius Kižauskas, director of the Association of Lithuanian Agriculture Cooperatives. So Dainius, please join us. We do have as well Justinas Staruška, CEO of biotechnology company Nando, as well as fellow board member at Association Lithuania Bio. And we have a guest from France, Dr. Michel Bauer. He already presented in the plenary session. He is Director General of the European Research Infrastructure Consortium for the Analysis and Experimentation of Ecosystems. Okay, so we have many great speakers, but only one additional microphone, so I would like to hand it to Michael, because I would like to take advantage of your presence in this event. And as Rasa presented, we are in the process of developing a national strategy. the question would be whether there is expectation that these national initiatives and national strategies and actions plans somehow should be aligned with this European strategy, or we can go outside the box, and so how countries should approach that interlink.
So now it's, thank you for this very important question. I think it's, we have in Europe a certain distribution of competences also according to the European treaties. There are some areas which are more according to the subsidiarity principle for the member states, others shared competence, others we have a more exclusive European competence, for example in competition rules, state aid, this is a very common policy, but on forestry, for example, how to manage the forests, there we have very little competence. It's not mentioned in the treaty, but there's a kind of bit shared competence with the environmental acquis. The CAP, we have a common agricultural policy, so again, there's a very strong common policy, but with the development of the CAP, we also saw over the last decades that member states wanted to have quite some flexibility how to design. The point is always not one size fits all. I think that's the important thing is to agree on the common things, and there where it's necessary, for example, vis-a-vis the outside world, vis-a-vis what is Europe's voice in FAO, in international institutions, what is our outside voice in trade policy, how do we deal with imports of unsustainable biomass, are we able to create like CBAMs or other instruments, but in areas of supply, how exactly, what should somebody grow, what should Lithuania put the emphasis on the field, which kind of forest strategy, and in particular also the use of money. There's a lot of freedom in the framework of the overall funds and in the framework of the state aid and competition rules. So I would say it's somewhere in the middle, a big alignment. That's what we strive for. So what I see, we had good discussions also yesterday in Lithuania. So there will be the choice how much money or what programs exactly within the CAP to foster cooperation, to foster investments in, I don't know, in this circularity on bio fertilizers, yeah? Or whether Lithuania wants to participate in the upcoming IPCI, important project of common European interest for biotech, bioeconomy, biomaterials, where some other member states are now pulling together to get this then approved. Making use of the upcoming EU competitiveness fund with a certain window. So these are all, there are some lines available, there are some offers, but it's then finally to each member state to say, okay, we decide to put so much into this program and so much into that, and in particular, we are not here to tell from Brussels what to grow. This is also enshrined in the reform of the CAP already 20 years ago in the so-called decoupling, where I was 20 years ago with Commissioner Fischler at that time in Brussels. So the idea, we do not attach all the common agricultural premium exactly on a coupled, if you for each cow or for each grain a certain amount, but there's a lot of freedom what to grow and what to promote to grow for the member states.
Yes, so your recommendation, what would national, like these stakeholders should consider in developing the strategy? What could be a good national bioeconomy strategy, you would say? Because there could be a strategy to implement certain goals, for instance, for the urbanization, like these major goals, but there could be a strategy like a business strategy. Yes, what competitive advantage Lithuania could have, how to build, how to win in the European landscape. So what type of...
I think okay, to be a bit more what I said, I think what I see, I was just 2 days and the first time in my life in Lithuania, I'm sorry for that, I've been, but it's a great country, it's also for me as an Austrian native and now in Brussels, it's really fantastic and thank you for the hospitality. I'm also sorry that I have to leave a bit earlier than to the flight back to Brussels. No, I think this circularity of biofertilizers and knowing also the history of dependencies and the resilience, let's say from Russian gas or from, so to create here something more domestic, circular in the agriculture sector in itself, because agriculture is using the fertilizer and is producing something which can be made to fertilizer. I think this is a great thing and worth to look at, and also in this co-generation then of energy and material and fertilizer and chemicals. Maybe also by the use of modern technologies, precision fermentation, even going towards biotechnology, and I think what I had yesterday, that you have a good agency also to foster that, invest in Lithuania, trying also with the knowledge in the universities to be here in the lead, new materials with new technology, applying new technology and using biomass as a feedstock. I think this is also a great opportunity. So I leave it with that because it's really and participate in the European programs. Think about I mean the proposals are on the table, but for example the competitiveness fund. This is all just a proposal of the Commission. It will be in the next 2 years negotiated. So these 7-year financial frameworks. Are long, thick timbers, we say, to drill, and Lithuania will be in a very good and strong position with your EU presidency in the year 27. So it's a very strategic moment. So you can build on these first strategies, Clean Industrial Deal, Bioeconomy Strategy, and you will be at the very critical moment of negotiating this. These proposals then, and you have heard next year there might come the Biotech Act, the Circular Economy Act, and then still negotiations of the financial framework. So you are in a good place. So we are happy if Lithuania looks at a certain alignment with a European strategy, but then also even helps to make the right choices also for Europe within your presidency.
So thank you for your advice to be proactive, to have own like goals and agenda, and to how to say, to use the opportunity of the presidency. So and going to this at the Lithuanian level, we do have like commitment to develop a strategy, and our Ministry of Agriculture is very much involved and leads the process, at least at the interministerial group. So what would be the goals for this strategy development? What the government, or at least the Ministry of Agriculture, expects from this strategy?
Okay, good afternoon. Thank you, Virginia, for the question. I think that, yes, we know, and it was said during the presentation, that the bioeconomy strategy finally is in the governmental program, and now we are working on the implementation of this program. And of course, you can see all sectors that are traditionally represents bioeconomy sector is, task goal to have strategic document. I want to say a few words about the timing. As we see the situation, I think that today we really have a perfect timing for the creation development of strategic document, because Lithuania so far we haven't the strategy. But I want to say that we have some ideas, some priorities in other strategic documents. And today, what we have today, as it was said, we have strategic documents from the European Union. We are looking forward for the strategy of bioeconomy. We also, as it was mentioned, we have a package of drafts, and I think that is the very important job to revise, to make some advices in the European level, and we have to combine all these things, where our strategic goals and priorities, and also what is on the EU agenda. And I think that this is very important to work for us these 2 years in order to have quite flexible legal acts that business can benefit from the possibilities to finance the development of biorefineries and other entities, let's say. I want to say also to stress the moment that, as it was said, that the other activities like biomass valorization or other type of activities of bioeconomy, we could finance from our state aid funds. So taking into account the situation we have in our state in the EU, also taking into account that we are a border state, we have border with aggressors countries. So I think that anyway, we shouldn't be very optimistic about the surplus funds that could be used for such type of financing. So I think that it's very, very important to understand the trends within the EU and to follow these trends if we want to use public money and to use funds, in particular European Competition Fund. So.
Yes, and yes, we will go to the business side and initiative, what could emerge from business, but as to use the opportunity, what type of support, because the financial support was mentioned, but what other type of support could be provided by the state, supporting the awareness raising or some regulatory initiatives, what could be like initiatives, this toolkit for this bioeconomy promotion in Lithuania?
So that's a question for me. Yeah, so I think that those tools are similar like we have today. So what we have? We have, of course, EU funding, so the state is co-financing, yes, EU funds. Also, we have financial instruments. I think this is very important element when we are talking about the financing of big refineries, big entities. So it's guarantees. It's also credits with, with the competition, with less interest rate. And I think from my point of view, it is very important to share risk, because such a big entities and construction, development of those entities takes quite a long time. And you have a new product. The product is new on the market. And for the, let's say, investors, it's quite big risk. And I think that the public money or let's say the government should share this risk in order to promote the development of such entities. It's my personal understanding. Also, I should mention ILTE. We have a special national bank that also is fed by public money, and we could, impose some, let's say, conditions for crediting. So this is, I think, the mainly instruments I could mention. Maybe somebody else could add.
Yes, so then, so from the government side, what could be done, and thank you for bringing like this aspect of risk sharing, which is very important. So now, but we need business to develop the economy, which is itself like industry. So we do have in the panel people who are working in industry and developing industry, and I would like to delve into the opportunities, what opportunities we can see, and we have a Lithuanian Investment Promotion Agency, which looks at the trends and tries to identify areas where investments could come from. So in terms of bio-based industry, Rugile, what is this potential and promising areas? What would you identify?
Good afternoon, lovely to be here. And thank you for the question. So I think the upcoming investments, they're very heavily based on, I would say, regulated demand. So what in the previous conversations and presentations we saw, especially from Mr. Losh, we saw that decarbonization is one thing. So we're looking at growing investments into alternative fuels, alternative proteins. We're looking more and more into cross-sectional investments, such as digital technologies coming into bioeconomy ecosystem. So for us, I think in the short term, this is what we are looking at. And the big problem, of course, is that demand for the companies is a huge bottleneck. So once we see a proof of concept, I think the more and more investments are going to go into those areas that are going to pick up and that are going to develop faster. In the long term, I would say that we are going towards a more symbiotic ecosystem. So we are really seeing the trend that, of course, in bioeconomy, we're trying to create as circular economy as possible as well. So it's quite related in that sense. So in the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to see areas where bioeconomy companies are going to be established that are fully symbiotic, working from one another. So these are, I would think, are different trends that we are observing in the ecosystem.
Yes, and then what would be, just to follow up, that there is opportunities and good to have a view and segment them, what type of investments could be expected, but all countries compete for these investments. So what, how to say, advantages, you see in Lithuania and your Department of Investment Promotion, they can wake up in the middle of the night and they say why you should invest in Lithuania. But what type, in terms of bioeconomy, why we are competitive and attractive destination could be for these investments?
Yeah, absolutely. So in Lithuania, we have a lot of things to offer. So one of them is actually biomass, especially grain-based biomass. So for now, we are actually producing more than we are able to consume locally, so we export a lot. In addition to that, of course, again, referring to the presentation from the European Commission, of course, we have not as much as maybe other countries, but there's still forest availability for biomass. So this is, I think, one of the pillars. The second pillar is the academic community. So in Lithuania, we invest a lot in our talent and in our competencies. So from R&D perspective, Lithuania, I think, is quite strong in the region to prepare the good talents with our industrial parks, innovation systems, and building on that. And third, since Lithuania is more of an export-based economy, logistics are great. So that's why the companies are able to come here, get the talent, the biomass availability, and then they're able to export the product that they're making. And referring again, government support is also very strong. So just to add on maybe where the government support can be coming from, so investment highway is actually a new measure that's been recently introduced that is primarily focused on making sure that companies are able to go from idea to the market as quickly as possible with lowering permitting, helping with speeding up the process. So I hope that's covering all the bases.
So it's nice to hear compliments and what we have for our assets. Now for the business, we do have two representatives from the industry. So how you see opportunities that we are discussing, that European Commission presented and promotion agency of the investments also drew our attention. So how from the cooperatives, agriculture perspective, how you see these opportunities and whether we will be able to utilize them.
Thank you very much, and hello everybody, guests from abroad and organizers and all the members are gathered here. So we are Lithuanian Agriculture Cooperative Association that is growing and getting bigger every year by year and by year. And we are becoming more active at the moment. What I would like to say, and really it was a big pleasure to listen for Michael Losh from European Commission, and I noted some points, and it's really very, directly related what we are doing now and what we see, how we act in our agriculture policy in Lithuania. So diversification of value streams, it's very important. And that's what we are doing now. Agriculture companies, we have representatives here, our farmers union and our agriculture cooperatives. Really diversification. It's very important not to stay just on one line and to split all the risks. Yeah? So then maybe later will be more concrete, or we can discuss later about everything. Strengthening the role of primary producers in the value chain. That's also, that is the way it goes, And reducing dependencies on important raw materials and fertilizers and etc. So I think we are on the right direction at the moment, especially with the cooperatives. But of course, I know that agriculture companies, farmers union, because we are like 3 units, in one place as agriculture structure in Lithuania. So we are going on that way. And further, I will present more about agriculture cooperatives. Okay, thank you.
But just to
tell me.
a bit react to what was said before, because also it was mentioned what the state in Lithuania could provide. It was mentioned some loans, risk sharing. So is it enough for the economy development, or you would say that we need something, some other measures also?
As Ms. Dalia Minataitė, very good opinion she was presenting at the moment, but of course it was her opinion, or maybe it was a Minister of Agriculture opinion, but to share all the risks with this also the bank ILTE, and with this our new government, 20th government that changed now in a few weeks ago. So we believe that we're gonna get deeper in sharing risks, creating these, all the instruments for help in our sector, for the farmers, agriculture companies, and all the things. So the main thing is that we should be in such a good contact with our governmental institutions, and to feel all our members, that to move this, how to say, all the position, that to gather in one place, and then to find a solution to work together. And of course by EU policy. That's how it goes, I think.
Good, and as Rasa presented, there is a hub in Lithuania for these discussions. So are you a member already?
Not yet, but that is the place where we met each other, and so.
Yes, so Rasa, the hub coordinator, is sitting right to you, so she could elaborate more about the membership and
Thank
all
you for
the
that
practical
platform,
video.
That we're gathering here.
Yeah, and then, okay, so this is agriculture business perspective, but we also have a representative from technology sector. So because these challenges that were presented, they require organization and this policy framework, but also some technology that would allow to have more from less, for instance. So there is certainly opportunities for technology developers and providers. So how, Justine, you see like these opportunities arising from this bioeconomy initiatives and how Lithuania can use it?
Good afternoon, everyone. So I was trying to understand where we are, I mean our company, as we produce biofertilizers, biostimulants by biotech fermentation, so different reactors and etc. So we are like, when it's applied to agriculture, so we are under agriculture ministry, what is related with the soil, with the yields, with the plant growth and etc. When it's related to the life science or to the biotech, we are like in our economic and innovation ministry or in strategy. So sometimes I don't know where we are, but maybe today I can say that we are in bioeconomy, because it's like merging both. And from what I see, and I am a big fan of European Union, we are participating in different initiatives, I mean projects, what is related with Innovation Agency, with the ILTA Bank as well, so also international projects. And on another hand, I'm not so happy that what kind of regulations coming sometimes, because when some directives are issued, nobody knows how it should work in real life. But on another hand, I'm very happy that we are still, as a business, we are fast, because European Union is really slowly, and it needs for them a lot of time to make new directive. So then we have time to do our business. So while they are doing something, we are making business or selling. So right now we are selling a lot of products outside of European Union. So because we know that some kind of maybe regulations will come, maybe not, and we should go by our own. So European Union going one road, we as a business going another road. And if we are adding about what's happening in Lithuania, so I'm very happy regarding Vytautas Magnus University initiatives, where we are trying to combine biotech with agriculture, as we have Agriculture Academy, also faculty of life science and biotech related initiatives. So we are now trying to make new agro-biotech vision, what can be done in Kaunas, and could be really unique even in Europe, as there are only a couple of centers in Europe where are similar initiatives where agro is related with or is merged with biotech. Maybe something to add.
So what is added and brought to the table is that also this legislation part also is very important, not to restrict innovation. So that's a good addition to our discussion. And yes, so technology development, but also there is a market for new scientific knowledge, and so not everything is solved, and then we need research to develop solutions, and we do have a representative from research infrastructure consortium, and who can inform us about what are these emerging solutions, where is potentially gaps on scientific knowledge, innovation that we can, how to say, draw attention and might consider to develop in Lithuania. So I know that you would like to have a couple of slides, and I was promised, oh, okay, so we have a helper to just to visualize these topics that could contribute to the knowledge gaps. So we will have them in a minute. So please, Michelle. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for letting me presenting these slides. So first, just to locate, and it's about ecosystem for the future, I would say. It means that we predict, we really simulate, make experiment, and I think ecosystems are as a root of bioeconomy. Without ecosystems, you don't have soils, healthy soils, you don't have any bioeconomy possible. And well, we don't have life at all, so the solution is here. But yeah, so what we do is really we make experiments, so we simulate, we produce the next climate possibilities, we enrich CO2 levels, or we release ozone or whatever on this poor ecosystem, and we see how they can adapt. Of course, what is interesting is not how they will disappear, but how they will adapt, or how we can help them to adapt, to resist, and also to help mitigate climate and the biodiversity, of course. Maybe we can go to the next slide, and for that, it's just a second slide on ANAE. Yeah, so it just, we have a set of facilities, experimental, so you see a glass globe where in Czech globe, we enhance the level, we rise the level of CO2, so the one we will have in 2050, if I think even if it's in an optimistic hypothesis, and another where we produce a special draft in Denmark, I think, and we have the kind of both panorama of enclosed open air facilities, analytical, and of course modeling, because data is quite key here. And then I try to think into where we are in this bioeconomy. So in the next slide, yeah, you see that the interactions are complex, and we are here. Yeah, we are here at, I would say, if you take all the bioeconomy, the circular bioeconomy, you have a lot of things from pharmaceutical, things like that, and of course an infrastructure like ANAE is in the lower part of it, quite normal. But if I try to put all the infrastructure of AgroServe, this is on the next slide, to put on this map, all the infrastructure of AgroServe, maybe we don't have everything yet. Yeah, okay. And maybe if you just if you go to the if you click again. Oh yeah. Now you have all the infrastructure of the 11 infrastructure of AgroServe, and you see that we cover all the map of bioeconomy. For instance, IBISBA, we were talking about reactors and things like that, and IBISBA, it's about biotech, making methanizations, using leftover to produce methanes, to produce pharmaceuticals, things like that. If you take SmartCo, it's how to have a sustainable cattle products. If you take, I will take just a few examples. Of course, also we have social sciences, because the scientists can produce very nice solutions for the bioeconomy. If the farmer does not find his interest, and if he thinks it's too complicated, or it's imposed by the Brussels or whatever, he will never adopt it. So if you don't have social sciences, if you don't understand how the farmer, how the industry, how the consumer will adopt these solutions, you lose your time. I mean, you can have the nicest solution. So it's where we intervene. You see also Open Screen, which is the screening of molecules, or MIRI, which is really connected to the microbiome. So it's where we try to find these emerging solutions. And to answer to, yeah, there are some emerging solutions, charcoal, but yeah, we scientists are here to make solutions emerge. And we have some charcoal, but is charcoal, I mean, so you put carbon in the soils. It's good both for the productivity of the crops, and it's good because you are storing carbon not in the atmosphere, but in the soils. But how long it will stay in the soil? I mean, this carbon can stay and then be up in 2 years or 3 years. Or it can go back and go to the water, to the underground water, and eventually end somewhere in the sea. So this is something which is complex, very complex, and so we are studying that. But then we have some emerging, many emerging solutions. But after this emerging solution, yes, we have to work, I would say, from the solution, which is research, so from the emergence to the innovation, meaning that we have to work really hand in hand with the farmers, the industries, everybody to try to transform this solution in innovation and eventually in market products. And this is complex. We have several tools, living labs for us, whatever the tools. We have also contracts with the industry sometimes. But I think this is quite important. There are some helps from the well, I am European infrastructure, so I would say from Europe, but also the country have many instruments to help research to collaborate with industry. Some are working, others are less working, but I think it's...
Yes, so as like in bioeconomy on the industry level, we should decide like these major like priorities on what to grow, what to produce. So as well in science, we also have to also identify where is the areas of excellence and where we can how to say, be competitive, because still also like research and innovation sector, European level also is a market. And in this regard, like beyond the European Union, because as Justinas also mentioned, they are like exporting these products outside the European Union. So what are like these if you may identify like strengths of European Union, because usually it is perceived as slow in innovation compared to US and so on, but how to say, in the bioeconomy, like agriculture, innovation and science landscape, where are our like strengths that we can be maybe a global leader?
Yeah, there is not only artificial intelligence and not only electronic products, there is also agriculture. And I think agriculture in European Union is something which is really quite, I mean, it's strong. I mean, we are in Lithuanian, it's one of your main aspects. I am French, so it's also one of the countries which is very sensitive on agriculture. I think really agriculture and especially sustainable agriculture is one of the strengths of the EU. And at some point, we will have to change, I mean, our agricultural model to something which is more sustainable. So I think with the current policy and the evolution of the policy with the current research, I think this is one of the strengths. I hope also the transformation, I mean, the biotechnology things and the things like that are also among the strengths of the EU. And finally, from the scientific point of view, one of the strengths of the EU are this research and very soon both the research and technology infrastructure. So research infrastructure were good because now the EU is promoting the technology infrastructure, and this research and technology infrastructure are something which you put in common, each country put in common what they have. We build, they are really at the top level, maybe not enough known by the community, but it means that we have something which is on the long term. And in the US, everybody knows that they can put several billion dollars on the table, but after 10 years, and I have some, I can give some examples in my own field, but after a few years, the donator, he dies or he has a new, he wants to do something new, and then there is nothing. While in the EU, maybe there is less money, but the use of this money, the efficiency is higher. So I think this research innovation system in the EU is one of the strengths of the EU.
Yes, and the context, as our conference main theme is on resilience, so means that the context, how to say, influence what we can expect and what we can do. So definitely, as Rasa mentioned, like this strategizing, like it's a process, and like we decide now, but later it can, we have to rethink something. So therefore, it's very important to involve like those that take the ownership of leading this bioeconomy development, and then from the hub to hear what are the, you know, these stakeholders that we have to make sure to be around the table discussing on these bioeconomy matters, and what value they bring, their presence in this process. And this is actually the last question in our session, and I would like, while Rasa will be answering, for other participants to think what would you see as a low-hanging fruit. You know, what is one thing we need to do, or like initiative, action, measure, or something that could have like this comparably high impact. So about these low-hanging fruits, this last round, and Rasa about how we cooperate.
Yeah. So engaging different stakeholders is essential because, as we know, bioeconomy cuts across different sectors, from agriculture and forestry to energy, industry, and science. And no single actor can have all the necessary knowledge, resources, and capacity to drive this transformation alone. And we know that the policymakers may provide us strategic directions, but they need scientific evidence, business innovation, and the societal support to make the strategy realistic and impactful. And that's why we established Lithuanian Bioeconomy Hub as an ecosystem of all these stakeholders operating together. And we dearly believe that bringing everyone into the process, we can ensure that our strategy will be balanced, evidence-based, and broadly owned, which increase the chances of the successful implementation of the strategy.
Okay, and so what are this low-hanging fruit? Okay, so from Dainius, and the microphone will come back to me. Yes, so this one thing that we
I need
to
to
do.
remember now everything, you know, because I want to say a lot of things. Even I see a lot media, you know, so they are fixing all the things, and then it's gonna lay down and we're gonna have the facts. So, you know, with this additional value for the products, that is now our focus, even for our government, for 19th government, for the 20th government, for agriculture, Minister of Agriculture Affairs, and also for our agriculture companies and our cooperatives and farmers. Because, you know, still we were exporting grain like a raw material without value, just so, you know, or whatever other products. Of course, we need to grow that value here inside our country, you know, and then to get up for the taxes and all the things, and, you know, to sell whatever this internal material or final product, but not raw material, yeah? So what we need now, and of course EU policy now is moving from that Green Deal, as Mr. President of United States now, you know, drill baby drill. So as what we see and what we understand EU policy is changing also, and this production, manufacturing, that's what we should be near the all security stuff. Because security and production is the most important now in EU region. Security and production. Without production, how it's gonna act, that security, you know? And without security, what about the production? It's such related, you know? So what we need, of course, I think all European countries, especially Eastern countries, we need such a big support, financial support, for example, to reproduce our raw material like grain. Yeah? You understand that? What the point is?
Yes.
So that's what we are looking now at the moment, yeah, in our national government policy, discussing with our Minister of Agriculture Affairs, and of course looking for the partners in EU. And even 2 weeks ago we used to have in our international cooperation conference guests from Landmannen, from Kosun, I think from Netherlands, from Latraps, Latvia, and whatever. And they are getting deeper in production. So that's on what way we are planning to be together, to look for EU policy on the same way. And I think that Green Deal will get in a passive position, and this drill and security and production will become more active. So that then agriculture cooperatives that is cooperated together, but by the same sorts of grain, by the same technologies, by the same whatever knowledges, we can really achieve very good results and really make really very valuable products. So that's how I see that conference here. It's very important. It's very important to meet all you. And I hope we're gonna change our contacts and gonna be contacting in the future. Thank you very much.
Okay. And it's very good to hear that resemblance of what was discussed in Lithuanian Hub, Bioeconomy Hub stakeholders discussion, and they came up with this reduced substitutes, like replace exports with this high value-added products. And we hear today also this idea. I don't know whether it's very easy, like this low-hanging fruit. I don't know whether it is, but definitely it seems that it is like this vision that all stakeholders agree and we can move forward. So now continuing, like Rasa, what would like this one good initiative?
As a social sciences representative, I'm really very much interested in the processes and seeing how it is going and where we are right now with Lithuanian Bioeconomy Hub. I have a feeling that we still have to learn to cooperate in between the ministries, in between the different sectors, with different types of stakeholders, because the first strategic session of bioeconomy stakeholders has clearly demonstrated that we still need to talk a lot with each other to understand the potential that we have, the resources that we manage, and all the capacities on what we can do. It doesn't matter which strategic directions we will choose, but if we will not cooperate and work together, then the strategy won't be successful. So that would be my wish and the final remark. Yeah.
Sorry, can I add a little? Just, very sorry for my colleagues from here, from our Farmers Union and Agriculture Companies Association, because not just even grain, also milk, vegetables, fruits, like 4 sectors, yeah? And then we can move all these into production. So not just even grain, but of course all the support for all 4 sectors. Yeah,
yes,
that's what I wanted to underline.
Yes, that's when you represent association, you need to mention everyone, not to forget. Please.
So on the low-hanging fruits, now the fruits came to your mind in the last moment. Well, I don't really know Lithuania good enough to see any low-hanging fruits. I think we are also in complicated geopolitical times, so it might all be quite full of efforts to stabilize the situation and to move forward. I would like to say one thing, a bit to reflect, because we are very much on the same line, and I like also your approaches, and you took up some of my ideas. On the Green Deal, of course, the Commission has changed. There is a new composition also in the European Parliament. There is a next step. I would not say that, I would not like to associate the new Commission with these words of Donald Trump. You know, I don't repeat them. So I think it's important to stay the course with the main big targets that have been already now agreed on and that are now in our basic acts. So foremost the net zero, because also with our less than 7% global emissions, I think it's much more via technology, via developing good technology, that we multiply the effort for the world with good cooperations, with exporting things, with exporting good technologies that we can contribute to the global good of stopping climate change and other global problems. So coming then to possible strategies again, I think that was extremely right what you said. It's the value chain. It's starting basically from what you have, and when you realize that you have a lot of something that you export with little value added, then this is a good starting point. I would always say to reflect, so what would be the logic next step to deepen the value chain closer, which is also then better for circularity, but again you can use and reuse residue products in the production, and so you create a new circle which is close, and you don't a linear thing away from your country, and the circles are then otherwhere. So I think that's always a good point of reflection to start, and not to reinvent the whole sector, but to start from something you have, and then to try to create the next step in the value chain, and also to see that this next step is a diversified, a solid next step, not depending on one company buying everything of the country, and then maybe 10 years later this company has a problem, and then boop, everybody's so from the start to create a good environment, a diversified environment. So it's not easy, but this is not easy. It's easy to say, but it's a strategic approach. And I think I would like to say two things of what the state union can do. There's a lot of a functioning market, to be in close relation to the actors, stakeholders, to listen what are the obstacles. So it's not something which I can now think about. You have to talk to the associations, to the representations of the industry, to say what is concretely a problem, why is an investment not happening or something, and then to see whether something can be done about it. I think the state is also here for infrastructure. So there is are the grids, are the transport ports infrastructure, how do you design that to make your product able to use of the full European internal market, that Lithuania is connected to the internal market. There are, for example, now very new initiatives on transport networks of CO2 and hydrogen. So these are the questions also to connect here, because there is also there's a link between also the bioeconomy. There will be a lot of technologies. We talked about fermentation, cogeneration, and also including what we call CCU, carbon capture and utilization, and in particular biogenic carbon capture utilization. So there is a whole logistic also behind, and then you can make sustainable aviation fuels or bioplastics, and you need a certain infrastructure where the state has a certain role. And I would like to close with the idea we had at the university. I think the knowledge is a key raw material. And what I heard already, we had good discussions already yesterday, that to have kind of incubators, that those students and masters, PhD, who then invest more and have good ideas, which lead into patents or which lead into the idea of setting up a business, and with this knowledge and to give the right support from the university, but also then from startup programs and the right environment to make this a success. I think that's also nothing which is completely new, and also other universities are trying to do that. Last week I was in Wageningen in the Netherlands. They are also very successful also in their cooperation here. But these are models which can be adapted to the circumstances, and I think this is a good start, and I am very impressed also by this university here in Kaunas, and I think that's also a good starting point. Whether it's a low-hanging fruit, it's for you to make the good juice out of it.
Yes, and
so,
from European Commission, not one single thing, but you have to do many things, more things, to be more ambitious.
It's a big thank you, because we have the same point, the same view for the situation. It's very important. And also I wanted also to thank our university, because what we see also in all the future projects, we're gonna invite all our, for researching, what production we can make. We're gonna work with our universities also, and maybe also with the European universities. So it's also very important. Thank you.
Thank you. And may I leave? I have to leave for the airport.
So thank you so much
very
for
much
your contribution. Thank you so much.
You.
Okay, have a nice...
Okay, and we continue. Yeah. Yes, and just to some summary, like what the action we may take.
Yes, I think that I would come from the slide that was shown by Michael, and there is, when we are talking about the bioeconomy strategy, there are few possibilities. First of all, we should think about the, locally produced biomass, and what we can do from those biomass when the EU policy says to us that we have to, to reduce dependency on the import of fossil inputs or raw materials. And in that respect, I would say that we have one very success story, so production of biomethane. And now, at the moment, I want to say that until year 23, we haven't got any plant that produce biomethane. Today we have 7 big-scale plants, and 10 plants is under construction. So that means that we have a huge amount of digestato. And then we could think about the production of fertilizers that could supplement fossil fertilizers that our agriculture needs very much. So also we can speak about the, let's say, protein, import of protein inputs as well, and the other imports of materials that we could replace and while processing biomass that is produced in Lithuania. And by the way, biomass production is growing every year by 3%. So that means that we do have enough biomass, and we can do a lot of interesting.
To diversify, like this and to introduce circularity. Okay,
so fertilizers is my suggestion.
Thank you so much. So from Invest Lithuania perspective, we work a lot with foreign companies. So when they come to us, what they require usually is clarity. Clarity on whether they will have either clients or somebody who can offtake their product, how can they export, talents, etc. Very clear list. So for us, a low-hanging fruit would be a clear bioeconomy strategy in Lithuania. So in many cases, we see pitfalls in other countries where bioeconomy strategies are very beautifully written. There are very big words in them, but there are no actions. There is no clear roadmap, there is no clear commitment. So when companies come and if they see that there is a bioeconomy strategy that is clear, that is focused on actual acceleration of the industry, I think that will be a great improvement for Lithuania, and this is where we can be a leader and show other countries how it needs to be done. So it should be action-based, data-based, and encompass, of course, all of the features that the fellow panelists have discussed already. So that would be my low-hanging fruit for Lithuania.
Yes, and Justinai?
Thinking about the fruits and in the mind avocados, but we do not grow, then even talking about our neighbors, for example, Poland, when we discuss about bioeconomy, what Poland did this year, for using microbial products or biological products, they can have less consumption of chemical fertilizers, but by this government gives additional subsidies to the farmers. What I mean when we have different regulation what farmers cannot do, but we do not give tools what they can do. So when we forbid, but we don't give something in exchange. So this is one low-hanging fruit where Poland is going faster, and also thank you to the Ministry of Agriculture that some regulation, they are not so fast. Then when I'm thinking about that, okay, we do invest a lot, really invest in European Union for high-tech, for manufacture, for example, what is needed, but we don't invest in sales and marketing. What I mean, there are many companies doing great products, but they have no possibilities, capabilities to sell. What I mean by this, so from one side we spend a lot, but then startups or other companies are like dying, and then other companies from US taking care about this, how to sell and how to earn money. And like if we have like aircraft or plane and we do not give fuel, why we need this aircraft or plane if it will stand in our airport and it will not fly? So we have many projects, high-tech projects, but we do not add how to sell product, how to register product, and etc. So this is my summarize what I'm thinking.
Shall.
It's difficult to be the last low-hanging fruit, but yeah, so I think talking about very precise low-hanging fruit, just come tomorrow and you will have 4 users of AgroSearch presenting their results and their low-hanging fruit from biodiversity, and I think one is from Central Africa, some other are from Italy, and the guy in Italy, he made 2 new types of pasta. He's Italian, not Lithuanian, but from Emmer Food, and with farmer and with industry. So you see that there is really a continuum when you have precise, when you have tools to make research, and you can have a product which in the end can go to the market. And I would say for I'm not sure it's a low-hanging fruit, but our goal also in AgroServe is really to have a scientific community, or scientific plus, including some scientists or engineers, really that are in this very transdisciplinary domain, which is agroecology. So I think the ultimate goal of this kind of a very large European program is to build communities that then can be, with young researchers, that then can be sustained getting money and producing new results in new areas of knowledge.
Yes, so summarizing, I think that we have not one basket of apples, but I would say several ones in terms of one basket for proposals on policy, regulatory, on economic, financial dimension of bioeconomy and technological dimension, market dimension. So I think that this is contributing to the ongoing discussions that were presented, and I would like to very thank for all the panelists and presenters that they brought their apples to our basket. So thank you very much, and looking forward to our discussion by the copy and in informal settings. So thank you so much.